the summer of 2021, deep inside a gym in Podolsk, Russia, a fighter made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the bantamweight division. He called it the hunt for the monster. He was ranked inside the top 10 in the world. He had over 180 amateur fights behind him. He had survived the brutal Soviet boxing system that had produced world champions for decades. And he stood in front of the cameras with the kind of cold confidence you only find in men who have never been genuinely afraid of anything. "I am sharp and ready to slay the monster," he declared, "as soon as I get him in a ring." His name was Nikolai Koltakov. He was from Podolsk, Russia. He was coming to claim the most dangerous man on the planet. What happened next will tell you everything you need to know about Naoya Inoue. To understand the scale of what Koltakov was attempting, you need to understand who he was. This wasn't a paper contender. This wasn't a manufactured challenger built on soft opposition. Podolsk came from the Soviet boxing tradition, a system that produced Olympic gold medalists, world champions, and some of the hardest men to ever lace up gloves. He had racked up over 180 amateur contests before turning professional, building a foundation of technical skill and ring intelligence that most fighters spend entire careers trying to develop. Not a lot of world-class fighters are calling out Inoue. His promoter Dmitry Salita told the media, he wants to fight the best. He wants to deliver the first loss to the monster. Standing at 5'5", the exact same height as Inoue, ranked in the top 10 by 2 major sanctioning bodies, fresh off dominating his latest opponent at the Soviet-winged Sport Palace on Russian national television. Podolsk had methodically positioned himself for the one fight he decided he was born to win. "I've beaten hard punchers like him before," he said. "I know his style inside out. Beating him will not be a problem." The hunt was officially on. The only problem with hunting a monster is that the monster never stops moving. While Podolsk was positioning himself, making statements, winning tune-up fights in Moscow, and methodically climbing the rankings, Naoya Inoue was in a gym in Yokohama, preparing to remind the world precisely what he was. And in June 2021, he delivered that reminder in 3 rounds. Michael Dasmariñas was a Filipino fighter with 31 professional fights and 26 wins behind him. He was not a pushover. He was not an easy night. He was a legitimate contender who deserved to be in the ring with Inoue.
It's unnerving. Dasmariñas,
defeated champion.
the fight, in a way, they stand directly in front of him.
He's not clean with it.
If he's got any shot of landing anything.
Inoue demolished him inside 3 rounds. Not outboxed, not stopped on cuts. Demolished, dropped, hurt, broken down with a combination of pressure and precision that never gave Dasmariñas a single second to breathe, regroup, or survive. The referee stepped in. The fight was over. Another night's work done. Back in Moscow, Podolsk watched. And still, he called his campaign The Hunt. Still, he believed. Still, he came for training the next morning and told anyone who would listen that when he got into a ring with this man, it would be different. "I know his style inside out," he repeated. "Beating him will not be a problem." The monster had heard nothing. Inoue was already preparing for the next one. June 7th, 2022. The Saitama Super Arena, Japan. 55,000 fans. The rematch nobody thought would go differently than the first fight. Except this time, there was a different version of Naoya Inoue standing across from Nonito Donaire. Donaire had been named Fighter of the Year after their first fight. He had fractured Inoue's eye socket. He had taken Inoue to the final bell and made the boxing world believe, even briefly, that the monster was mortal. Inoue knocked Donaire down at the end of the first round, then came back in the second and finished him.
They were the first time around for Donaire. First fight they featured. You see the jabs, Inoue from there with the count from Inoue. Nice left hook there from.
With fire, that's just the way it is. For better.
Defying his balance. That goes down.
2 rounds. The Fighter of the Year. The man who had hurt Inoue and taken him to the final bell in their first fight. Gone in 2 rounds. He is one of the best of our generation, Podolsk had said of Inoue. But I don't give anyone a chance against him, except himself. He still believed. December 2022. Tokyo, Inoue put 4 titles on the line against WBO champion Paul Butler and became the first undisputed bantamweight champion since 1972, stopping Butler with body shots in the 11th round, becoming the first fighter in history to defeat all 4 major champions by knockout.
I expect him to go down to the bodies.
Double the bantamweight.
Not opening up right away.
Inoue touches him.
Some sort of respect. This was a Puerto Central.
More double jab that time. Elimination. He went double jab. Right hand, left hand to the body. Who's keeping him in range? There's a right.
Butler.
And a big right hand. It comes in 3-1 for Inoue.
While Potapov had been hunting, Inoue had become undisputed. While the Russian was calling his campaign the hunt for the monster. The monster had outrun every hunter on the planet and claimed every crown in the division. The target had moved. It had always been moving. That was the problem. And then, in December 2022, the same month Inoue was stopping Paul Butler on the other side of the world, Nikolai Koltakov stepped into a ring in Las Vegas against a Filipino contender named Vincent Astrolabio, the man who had declared a hunt for the monster, the man who had told the world that beating Naoya Inoue would not be a problem, the man who had stood inside the Soviet Wings Sport Palace and promised to slay the most dangerous fighter on the planet. Vincent Astrolabio stopped him in the 6th round. The fight was over. Not by Inoue's hand, not in Tokyo, not in Las Vegas, not in any arena that mattered. By a Filipino contender who was ranked below the man Potapov had spent 18 months publicly hunting. The hunt for the monster ended not with a war, but with a stoppage loss to someone who was never the target. There is a lesson in this story that goes beyond. You can study a monster all you want. You can announce your intentions to the world, build your ranking, win your tune-up fights, and tell the cameras exactly how you're going to do it. But a monster at the level of Naoya Inoue doesn't wait to be hunted. He moves, he improves, he becomes undisputed while you're still planning your approach. By the time Potapov was ready, Inoue had already left the division entirely, moving up to super bantamweight to dismantle Stephen Fulton and begin his conquest of a second weight class. The monster never even looked back. Somewhere right now, there is another fighter watching Inoue's tape, convinced they've found the answer. The monster is already in the gym, making that answer irrelevant.